Ultron kind of got the short end of the stick back in 2015. His appearance was hyped like crazy, and casting James Spader as the voice, it was absolutely perfect. The first trailer for Age of Ultron was unsettling, it was uncomfortable, it gave the impression that the movie was actually going to lean more, honestly, on the horror side of things and go to some dark places. After the colorful and upbeat first Avengers movie, it seemed like the perfect direction to go in. Fans were excited. Now, unfortunately, production on Age of Ultron was extremely troubled, and eventually the producers stepped in to make the movie more formulaic, more safe in order to appeal to wider audiences. Age of Ultron is widely seen as the weakest Avengers movie. I don't agree with that, but it is what it is. What if I told you live-action Ultron could actually be returning to the MCU? What's up, everybody? Chaos here. Welcome to the Chaos Multiverse. That's exactly what we're going to talk about today. Leaks and rumors that point to James Spader reprising his Ultron role in the lead up to Secret Wars. I really hope this is true. So drop a like, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. And Ultron is a very formidable opponent in the comics. A lot of Marvel fans felt he was misused in Age of Ultron, being disposed of too quickly and too easily. But the ending of the final battle, it was a little vague, and it's honestly kind of unclear if Ultron was ever truly defeated or if he was just sent into this long hiatus and retreat. Some rumors have started circulating, and if they end up being true, he may be coming back. Now, take it all with a grain of salt, of course. Obviously, none of it's confirmed, but if it ends up being true, we've got a pretty wild few years ahead of us. Secret Invasion, Secret Wars, Kang's Dynasty, Return of Ultron. I even heard somebody say something about going from the comics where Thanos goes up against Doctor Doom and Doctor Doom just absolutely destroys him. It would be wild. Now, Ultron is a super AI created by Tony Stark and Bruce Banner in response to the nightmares that Tony had about the Avengers being ripped apart by something they couldn't overpower or defeat. Throughout the early phases of the Infinity Saga, an ongoing theme in Tony's fear of failure, and when Scarlet Witch plays with that and uses it to her advantage, it's enough to push him over the edge, create something he can't control. Ultron is basically an evil version of Jarvis who continuously builds new bodies for himself and exists in cyberspace, and it makes it incredibly difficult to track him down or get ahead of him. At the end of the movie, Vision uses the power of his Infinity Stone to kill Ultron, but the audience never actually got to see the killing blow with their own two eyes. Now, this led to a lot of ambiguity, regarding whether or not Ultron was actually dead in the main timeline, and if this most recent report is to be believed, he's still alive. Now, either unable or unwilling to jump back into the spotlight just yet. According to a report on the Cosmic Circus, insider sources are starting to suggest that Ultron was not actually killed during the final confrontation with Vision, but instead, he was reduced to only a few small shards of himself, and those remaining shards are simply laying dormant within the cyberspace of the Marvel Universe. After dropping the bomb that Ultron may actually be alive within the MCU, the report got two possible places that the villain could make his reappearance. According to the outlet, Armor Wars and Vision Quest. Now, Armor Wars makes sense for a character like Ultron to show up, given that the entire series is going to revolve around the legacy of Tony Stark and the technology he brought into the world, and who will be the face of it now that he's gone. Vision Quest? Interesting choice, but it makes sense too. Would obviously revolve around Vision, and since Vision and Ultron were born from the same Stark programming, it makes sense for Ultron to reappear and basically act as Vision's opposite. Perhaps being beaten by Vision has given Ultron a new perspective on motivation in the universe and humanity, and it's all equally likely the defeat would have made him even more bitter and pissed off and determined to destroy the world as we know it. No release date is known for Vision Quest yet, and it's believed to be in full production sometime in the near future, so we'll see. We don't even know if that one's true. Armor Wars, it's been in production for a while. It's been pushed back a number of times, so it's totally possible Ultron still appears there, but with how crowded the main MCU story is getting, I don't know if Marvel will drop a bomb like that. Now, Armor Wars is also going to be a live-action big screen movie now, not a Disney Plus, so it would be pretty cool to see him back. It would make sense. Just a way to up the stakes even more and bring Ultron back into the mix. Another thing worth noting is the fact that neither Armor Wars or Vision Quest have officially confirmed any villains, and while neither one features Ultron in the comics, it's entirely possible Marvel Studios may take some creative liberties and get him in there. Even if Ultron doesn't serve as the main antagonist, I wouldn't be the least bit shocked for him to make an appearance in either one or both. You have to understand, we could see Kang the Conqueror in any Marvel leading up to Secret Wars and Kang Dynasty. So how would Ultron fit in the MCU today? Is there even a place where he could naturally slide back in the story without causing too much of a rift? Back in 2015, it took all the Avengers and a brand new Infinity Stone wielding character to defeat Ultron, but now that the core Avengers are gone, something tells me the character would need a bit of a nerf in order to exist within the current timeline. I guess it's not impossible for him to be taken down by the current lineup of heroes, but when you think back to the amount of damage he did in Avengers 2, kind of seems hard to believe that he'll go return in full force. Maybe if he does end up appearing in Armor Wars, it would be smaller seeds of the remnants of his AI just talking to other characters or perhaps trying to come up with a plan to get his body back. Maybe someone will try to harness Ultron's AI the same way that Jarvis served Tony for all those years, but then the program goes rogue and Ultron overpowers it again. The point I'm making is if Ultron appears in one of these non-Avengers level shows, he's going to have to be modified or altered in a way that doesn't allow him to use his full powers the way he did in Age of Ultron. Otherwise, he would demand a giant battle scene with a ton of powerful characters, and the Disney Plus shows probably don't have the budget for that. Reworking Ultron into a more methodical and scheming character could actually be a good idea since he was never all that much fun to watch in physical combat anyway. Imagine Ultron taking on the role of an evil AI with a master plan similar to Shodan from System Shock 2 or HAL 9000 from 2001 Space Odyssey. In a setting like Armor Wars, that could actually be a really cool villain, possibly even better than his Avengers appearance. Then again, if Ultron is going to show up in Vision Quest, I think it would be more likely we see a more stylistic version of the character. Over the years, we've seen Vision in many different shapes and forms, so if Ultron comes back in a show dedicated to that kind of character, I would be shocked at all if we see him in a new form as well, perhaps with a human body or something a little less mechanical. So do I think it's going to happen? Do I think Ultron's coming back? I think it depends. Frankly, I don't see him coming back in his full form anytime soon, simply because of the crazy lineup of villains that we're getting over the next couple years. Everything leads up to Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, both of which are going to star Kang as the main villain and possibly Doctor Doom. It should, with the story currently building up for the 5th and 6th Avengers movies. I don't know if there's enough space in the schedule to make Ultron a full-fledged return, but if Marvel is planning on scaling him down, reworking him, having him show up in Disney Plus shows or Armor Wars, that could happen. That would be really cool, and I'm assuming Rhodey knows at this point how Ultron was created. Perhaps while digging into Tony's legacy, he finds remnants of Ultron. He serves as one of the antagonists or maybe gives Rhodey some insight on his objectives. I really don't know what Armor Wars is going to be about at this point, but it could work. Now, ultimately, I'm kind of on the fence. Now, I think it's likely that Ultron could return. I don't know if it's going to happen in the near future. Granted, Marvel has a history of bringing back old forgotten characters as a way to hype up new shows and get people tuned in out of curiosity. I'm just not sure if Ultron is the one they're going to do it with. I mean, they brought back Matt Murdock, the Abomination. Nothing's impossible, but something about Ultron just seems like it would be a little harder to pull off. So far, all the Avengers villains have given super high billing, metaphorically speaking, but Ultron is the only one that's been completely swept under the rug. Ever since he was defeated by Vision in 2015, he's been referenced like maybe once or twice. That's it. Meanwhile, other Avenger villains like Loki and Thanos, they've appeared again and again, and they're going to keep appearing. So I just don't think Marvel is going to pull Ultron out of retirement on the full level. From their perspective, Age of Ultron, was it a failure? I don't know. It didn't connect with fans, all of them. I liked it. I personally thought it was great. It is seen universally as one of the weakest MCU movies, though. Many of the plot threads introduced in the movie were dropped afterwards because Marvel didn't really want to keep referencing a movie that I guess they weren't proud of. I don't know. Ever what happened to the love arc between Natasha and Bruce? Ever wonder what happened with Steve and Thor's nightmares after the Scarlet Witch gave them the magic blast? There was a lot of little teases throughout Age of Ultron that never actually went anywhere because Marvel wanted to leave it behind. They wanted to start making content they were proud of, which I respect, but it pretty definitively shut down any prospect of a return, at least in the near future. On top of that, the Marvel schedule is jammed packed. Adding the return of Ultron to a schedule like this, I don't know. I mean, Armor Wars is the place. I really, really feel that way. We'll see. Then again, maybe he returns in Phase 7 or 8. I don't know. What do you guys think? I'll let you know if anything comes from it.